And welcome once again to another episode of The Student Section, a podcast about college students talking sports. I'm your host, Gary Sussman. I am not a student. And on today's podcast, we'll discuss March Madness, where there is excitement in both the men's and women's brackets. We'll talk a little Marist basketball, transfer portal on fire for Marist basketball right now. And we'll also talk about New York baseball as the Yankees begin play in the Bronx. And we'll continue on a baseball theme as we welcome in Rick Zolzer, the Vice President of Programming for the Hudson Valley Renegades. So right now, let's go to the student section and welcome back Fire and Ice, Aidan, Lavin, and Will the Thrill Rosen, season ticket holders in the student section. Gentlemen, welcome.
Let's go.
Welcome.
Another great episode of the student section, and I'm happy to be here.
Excited to be back as well.
And we got a lot to talk about.
We do.
Let's first of all, this is going to be a baseball show, but there's a lot of basketball going on. But before we get to the national scene, we got some stuff going on on campus.
We really do.
I mean, Will, you've been tracking the transfer portal like you're working for the New York Times. So, what's going on?
All right, the most recent news and the biggest news of all came last week when Max Allen II declared entry into the portal, a vital piece to this Marist semi-championship-bound team. He was the most impactful piece at the beginning of the season and probably the biggest paint differential for the Marist team. And in the MAAC, also for Marist, Isaiah Brickner declares that he's going to enter the portal. Didn't have the greatest season this year, but we saw glimpses of him throughout the season and last season in the MAAC championships. And Noah Harris enters the portal. He had some injury woes throughout the season. I don't know if I expect him to necessarily go up in conference play, but he wants to get another season. And technically, Javon Cooley is in the portal on the technicality. He can't return here, and I don't know if he wants to continue his basketball career, but he has the option to get
interest too.
He has a secondary master's that he can get, as he was a 3-year grad transfer. He has another master's under his belt if he wants to obtain that. But a lot of news in the Marist sports realm, especially on the basketball side. It's tough when you lose these guys, especially when you lost Patrick Gardner last season. But you're bringing in a lot of talent, and it's going to be really focused on guard play next year, Gary.
Aidan, I'm a little surprised. You never know a team from the outside. The only people who really know the team are the people on the inside. But Max, 2-time transfer.
Yeah.
You would think that someone who transferred already would be staying at that school to pick up and go again from the outside. And I'm purely an outsider on this. A little surprising.
Yeah, I mean, you see it in pretty much any college sport nowadays. That's kind of how it is. I mean, Zaria was here for 4 years, so you would think that she would stay, but she also entered the portal for women's basketball. You would think that, oh, she's been here 4 years, she's going to stay. It's just not the same. You have other, like Sasha, when we talked to her, she said she was doing it strictly because she wanted a new experience, and that's fair. And sometimes people just get old of what they've already been through, and in Max's case, that's not the same. But it seems like Max is still trying to figure out where he can go and be, because he was a star in the MAAC. I think he wants to continue to try and explore where he can continue his stardom and be the dominant big man that he was here.
Yeah, I'm being told he's going to be in the Power 5. Take that with what you want. But I also think it's different with Max than Sasha or with Zaria. These are 4-year Marist stars. Yeah. They made a name for themselves being the face of their respective sport throughout their 4 years. Max came in. He made a great impact in 1 year, but I feel like it's a little different in the community at least. Sure, he had 1 year, but allow him to move on. For the two girls, they made their impact. They graduated. I think once you graduate, I think any expectation is gone, and you're free to do what you want. Yep. You're not a part of this community on the technicality anymore. Yes, you could play athletics, but in the case of school, you do not have to pursue a master's here. You can do whatever you want.
I think you give a school 4 years. That's
I think 4 years.
You can't ask for anything.
You can't ask for any more, and I don't think you should ask for.
And you want to change the scenery. Max, though, It's going to be interesting. You know, I talked about Brickner. I thought that he was going to have trouble depending on where he went because he's not a great ball handler. And Max's moves down low, when you put him up against teams that are big down low, I think that he also may have a problem with that. So sometimes the grass is a little greener on the other side. So to me, it remains to be seen how successful those transfers are going to be.
Next year, though, expect big numbers and big minutes for Jackson Price, who he had shades of fantastic games.
And I see him.
I think
I see him more as a stretch four. I don't see him as an inside guy. He has a beautiful three-point shot, and I think in the perfect scenario for him, he'd be a great stretch four.
The minutes are going to skyrocket.
Problem would be defense because he can't guard a smaller guy.
It's going to be a small team next year with both guards being their main guards. You have Daughtry. Schofield is going to get some minutes. I know that for a fact.
But you would have thought with Max staying, they really had a strong nucleus coming back. And whenever you have to reintegrate new guys, it just slows you up a little bit. Not that they're not going to be successful, but it's just tough for the coaching staff to lose someone because I'm sure that they thought
he was going to stick around.
That once they went out and got a transfer, that there would not be a second transfer.
That being said, though, I think there has to be a little bit like they didn't lose all three of their big guys, so to speak. It could have been much worse off.
Collins,
exactly. And they are freshmen, so they would even, I think, have more incentive to
100%.
go somewhere else than Max, who's not that much older, but he is an older player as opposed to Jaden and Josh, who are just getting started in their basketball career.
You know, when you talk about having given the school 4 years, Joe Girard at Syracuse, he was a legend at Glens Falls, went to Syracuse, played for 4 years, and then goes to Clemson.
The fans also hated that move, though, the move to Clemson.
But he had his
Bleeds
4
orange.
years,
And
he went for his fifth to somewhere different.
And he had a great year.
Had a great year. And he was throwing daggers at Syracuse when they were playing Clemson. So, you know, circle goes round. But I think if you get 4 years out of somebody, that you can't ask for more than that. And on that note, Final Four, by the time this drops, we'll have a little more, obviously, of what's going on with the Final Four. But just backing up a little bit to the LSU-Iowa game, averaging 12.3 million viewers, peaking at 16 million. 16 million. More viewers than every game ever in women's basketball, every ESPN basketball game ever, every MLB game last season, NHL, MLS, and every NBA but one game, and most bet game ever. And now you have, by the time we air, the game
National
left played already, but you have UConn and Iowa in just an all-star matchup, the matchup that everybody wanted to see. And if I can just get one thing off my chest, and then I'll let you guys talk, is I'm so tired of people saying, well, this about Caitlin Clark or that about... Caitlin Clark is a great basketball player. Is she the greatest women's player? Who the hell knows? Paige Beckers is great. Juju Watkins is great. Diana Taurasi was great. Sue Bird was great. Cheryl Swoops was great. But what she has something that kids want to emulate. No one else can jack it up from 35 with ease. She watched Steph Curry when she was growing up. She emulated him, and she became him. And in her own right, she's just a great basketball player. And the reason she's caught fire and the reason people like to watch her, don't compare her to the other girls. It's because she has that it factor of the way that she plays. And it's just, and the way that she passes. She's just a great player. You know, I did not know who was in the men's Final Four. I had to look it up last night at midnight. I felt bad. I forgot that Alabama was in. I know who was in the women's Final Four. And as we talked about several weeks ago, Will took the L. Aidan took the W.
I took the L.
Will took the L.
No competition
because we
here.
talked about the fact that Caitlin Clark was the face of college basketball.
I like to state that, yes.
McCain did well.
I take that.
McCain did well.
McCain did well, but you're right in hindsight. I also think in the last 6 weeks, she's also, it's not like she was here, but now she's actually here.
She was kind of, she's been there.
Oh, I'm a big fan.
And
I watched that entire game on the train.
She has caught fire, even more so.
Yeah, and as you would expect. In any playoff situation, you're going to get more attention. That's just how it goes, especially March Madness. That's how it is.
Yeah.
I think
and she's played so huge in big games.
But for the women's bracket, everything came together for them this year. Obviously, Paige has been hurt the past 2-3 years with her ACL tears, and she's back. Caitlin's here. Angel's here.
Back. UConn is back.
It's
and
great.
UConn should be better than they are. They're very limited with their depth because of a few injuries, and yet they're still in the Final Four. They have a better team on paper than what they're actually putting out there because they don't have all their players.
UConn and NC State, both of their teams are in the Final Four.
Yeah, that's
It
pretty
is
cool.
unbelievable.
And I see, in my humble opinion, I don't see anybody taking down the UConn men.
No.
I just don't see
I
it.
agree.
They're very good.
I agree.
He's got a machine there. He's got
He is a
great
machine.
players. He's a nut job, but he's great at what he does. Comes from a basketball family. And
DJ Burns and Zach Edey should be fun.
Yeah.
Two completely different centers.
Yeah. It kind of would be fun if NC State got in.
I think they
Yeah.
can.
But, their center is being talked about as an NFL player.
He
Yeah.
took the he said no.
He said no. Well, we'll see what happens. Men, we're going to switch it over to baseball. Anthony DePonio, the Pony Man, will be joining us in the student section as we welcome in Rick Zolzer, the VP of Programming and Madness for the Hudson Valley Renegades. He'll tell us every promotion known to mankind that the Renegades are going to put to their 30th anniversary season. New field, new sponsorship last year, Yankee affiliate starting April 16th. We'll have Zolz come in and talk to us when we return right after this on the student section.
The Student Section podcast is brought to you in part by the Marist Center for Sports Communication.
For Marist Athletics news, go to www.centerfieldmarist.com or follow CF Marist on all socials.
And welcome back to the student section as we get ready to talk some baseball. Now, the Bronx has been burning. Not really, but the Yankees have gone off to a scorching start for the 2024 campaign. And their single A affiliate, the Hudson Valley Renegades, will open up their home season on April 16th. It used to be only a summer team. Now, real baseball in April. Heritage Financial Park in Fishkill. And joining us right now to talk about every giveaway known to mankind. The hardest working man in Dutchess County, Rick Zolzer, the Vice President of Game Day Promotions and Programming. How's that sound?
That sounds really fancy. I got to check my card.
Now, you have more jobs than Eli Manning. So the question I have for you, in a peak week, give me a peak week over 12 months. How many different jobs do you have?
Well, let's see.
Peak week.
Teach 2 classes at Mount St. Mary College.
1.
Zolz Entertainment, so
2.
I could be DJing your party.
Oh yeah.
The Renegades, of course.
3.
Got to do that. Doing PA for the Mount St. Mary College
4.
basketball team, and then being the on-court host and your partner for Marist College
5.
basketball.
There
5.
you go.
I also think that you can slip in a few more there if you had a little extra time. And I know you do.
I
Probably.
DoorDash from time to time.
So thank you very much for being here. Say hello to 2 members of the student section, Will and Anthony.
Gentlemen,
Welcome.
How you
thanks
doing,
for having
Zolz?
me.
Thank you for coming. We're very happy.
So before we get into all the nicks and knacks of the Renegades, coming in on a very interesting day because it's crappy outside, it's raining. On the day that we taped, the night before, the Mets waited till 9 o'clock to cancel a game. So I'm very curious as to what the thought process is for the powers that be when it comes to cancellations, because I would think, this is just from an outsider, Yankees or Mets cancel a game, people are going to come back or whatever, but people pay for parking, people pay for concessions or whatever. Your margin of error may be a little smaller. So what goes into that decision of when you're going to cancel a game on a weeknight or a weekend?
Each organization has a different way they handle things. Some organizations don't take any chances. They just, like on Met opening day, they called it 24 hours before that because they said there's no way the radar can be wrong on this one. So first of all, you check the radar. Then you check the umpires. Then you check with both minor league directors. And then finally the GM has to collate all that information and he has to decide yes or no. more often than not, we will open the doors. Most organizations will. And people come in and they think it's just an opportunity for us to sell hot dogs and beers. But you can't sell enough hot dogs and beers to make up the cost of actually opening up a stadium. Between the payroll, the insurance, the lights, whatever it is, you can't come close. We can't sell enough hot dogs. So that's not the impetus for us opening the gates. In minor league baseball, if you lose one opening, like you can't redo it, it's around 50 grand where the clock starts ticking. If it's a Friday night fireworks and we're completely sold out, it's going to be much more money than that. So we always try to play the game. Because then there's a unique situation with season tickets. We're lucky. We have a lot of season tickets. Well, a rain check doesn't mean anything to them because they already have the seat. Yep. So what do you do with those people? So you have to take the value of their seats and give that to them in rookie bucks or rascal bucks or whatever we're calling it this year, so they can then take that money and spend it somewhere else in a ballpark. So it's a huge expense to lose a game.
So do you have like I got a weather app on my phone. Are you like looking at the weather app, or is there a more sophisticated radar system? I would hope.
Yes, there's a much more expensive app than any apps you can get on the App Store, whether you're Android or your iPhone. But we with the brand new surface that we had, because we just put in a brand new AstroTurf. It's like AstroTurf 12th or 13th generation. It'll drain about 125,000 gallons of water an hour. Wow. Literally, the field will be ready to play on before the players can stretch and warm up their arms. So it takes about 20 minutes for those guys to do their thing. The field's ready to go.
And may I say, by the way, the new field that the Hudson Valley Renegades are going to be playing on for this season, unbelievable. The field and the entire stadium.
Have you been playing there, Will?
What?
Have you been playing
No,
there?
but I've done my extensive research with our what?
Crack research department.
It looks absolutely fantastic. I'm going to be coming out to opening day in April. That'll be April 16th. I'll be there.
Aberdeen Ironbirds.
Yes. You know it?
Yeah.
Tuesday night.
I know it.
I will be there. I hope everyone tuning in shows up. It's really a fantastic feat. As you said before, it is at this point, looks like the best minor league ballpark. Tell us a little bit about what has gone on the last year of this.
By the way, besides being in the student section, Will actually also works for the Chamber of Commerce. So I just
I did my
he's a huge Chamber of Commerce guy.
I like it. Well, the bottom line is that when we found out that we were going to become an affiliate of the Yankees, we first knew that we were going to be affiliate of a long season ball club.
Yes.
In the old days, we were a New York Penn League club, which was a short season, which we didn't start till the third week of June every year after the draft, when they did the draft in June. So there are a lot of things and protocols and stepping stones that have to be complete in order to be a high-level A club. Based on attendance, paved parking lots, ADA requirements, seating, and what they call player experience. And that's the biggest line item in the deal. They decided, Major League Baseball didn't decide it, but they told us, your current clubhouse, which now houses the home and the visitors and the umpires, is not big enough for one team, let alone two plus the umps. So then we had to commit, Marcus Molinaro committed that they would find a way to get the funding to move the Renegades to left field. The visitors would get our current clubhouse, and they were allowed to share it with the umpires. So that was number one. Number two, we had to change the lights from the old-fashioned lights that make the noise when you put them on. It takes 20 minutes for them to come on, to LED lights. We had to change our fence. It used to be the old-fashioned wooden fences where if you hit it, it's wood and you get hurt, to now, believe it or not, it's a chain-link fence with a pad on it, like a wrestling pad that has a banner on it. And that banner is like how you mark up a car and put logos on it. It's the same thing. So we had to change so many things. We changed the field because the Yankees said, can you go to a real surface? And we were like, well, we could, but here's the problem. A lot of schools play here between college and high school. We have high school graduations here. We would lose a lot of money if we did that. And the Yankees asked how much. We told them. They said, okay, would you at least be willing to change the surface? Because if you saw the surface last year, our surface was at the very end of its usability. It was not a good surface. I believe it was 10 or 11 years old last year. Most surfaces, 8 years-ish is where they change them out. So we said, yeah, we'll gladly put in a new field. And now there's a chance we could get a real rehab from somebody big. Before this, the Yankees said, we can send pitchers because we don't want to put any of our regular guys on that surface. And I don't blame them. Our field wasn't very good. Now we have a brand new field. The Yankees are happy with it. If there's a big rehab and the schedule works out, we'll now get somebody.
Before we go back to the students, because I am not a student, can you just give us a little background on that changeover from the summer team to being the Yankee affiliate? Because you were a Tampa Bay Ray affiliate. Mm-hmm. Before that, you were a Texas Ranger affiliate, and a huge change in the entire dynamic.
It was unbelievable. Here's the deal. It's a little bit of a history lesson. Remember back in 18 and 19, Major League Baseball said we were going to contract a bunch of teams?
Yes.
All right. Mm-hmm. So that was on everybody's radar. And the politicians were balking at it because there's all these stadiums with publicly funded stadiums in the minor league facility. Plus, it's essentially where you grow your fans. And they were going to get rid of at least 42 teams.
And the lifeblood of a lot of communities.
Charleston, they got rid of the Yankee affiliate in Charleston.
It's now a Ray affiliate, but the stadium is still there. Mm-hmm. But the bottom line is that Major League Baseball is going to get rid of all these markets. We thought we didn't stand a chance because, yes, we packed the place, which is what they want, and it's fun and there's an atmosphere, but it's an old field and an old stadium. We didn't think we stood a chance. So Major League Baseball said to Congress, okay, we'll back off, and then COVID hit. And then they were allowed to say, we're hemorrhaging cash. And Congress said, they acquiesced. Okay, do what you have to do. So they contracted 42 teams in 20, and we thought, we're done. We don't stand a chance. And then all of a sudden, and true story, I was delivering DoorDash because there were no weddings to DJ and there was no Renegades to work. So I had to make money. And I was in Fishkill and I had to go to Beacon to pick something up. And I get a call from the GM says, we're going to go on a conference call with our owner. Can you be there? I'm like, okay, this is where they tell us they're shutting down the Renegades and I'm going to be driving and picking up people's Muga Gaipan for the next 2 years. So he gets on, he goes, all right, folks, just want to give you the news. We're not being contracted. We are going to be a high A affiliate. And by the way, it's the New York Yankees. Now, I'm a Dodger fan, but I understand the impact of the interlocking NY and what it means to everybody in this area. I mean, there were people who barely would take my phone call and be polite and say, hey, what's up, Zolz? Now they call me, how can I get involved and be a part of the sponsorship program? But Major League Baseball said, we're going to give you a high A affiliate if you do all of these things. So you go from 38 games to 66 games. I played college baseball in the Northeast. April and May in the Northeast is not good for baseball. Now, in the major leagues, you can get away with it because they have major league players. The minor league teams struggle for attendance in April and May because it's cold and it's dark. At least when you play in the daytime, at least there's a shot at some sunshine. So it has been a very huge adjustment going from 38 home games to 66 home games.
Wow, that's incredibly interesting.
It really is.
That really is. That background is incredibly interesting.
And whether you like to hear it, we just mentioned the sponsorship. You guys are an official sponsor of us.
And why wouldn't we be?
Of course. Only
the
at
hottest
the student section.
and least rehearsed podcast besides Shannon Sharp and Unco. You've also changed ownerships.
Yes, a couple of times.
A couple of times.
Yes, which is shocking.
And now you're owned by, I want to make sure that I get this correct, Diamond Baseball Holdings, which was part of Endeavor. I think they actually own Endeavor now, as of yesterday.
Endeavor was the original corporation that bought 9 minor league baseball teams at the time, and us being the 9th team. DBH, Diamond Baseball Holdings, is the arm of Endeavor at the time that had minor league baseball teams, with the plan of eventually getting 50-ish teams someday. So they found out that part of their other arms that they have, this big octopus with tons of arms, that they had the William Morris Talent Agency, which also has a lot of agents that service baseball teams, and baseball players, rather. So they felt that it was a conflict of interest to have ownership in teams and players by the same group. So Silver Lake or Silver Leaf, I should know this, but I don't. They then bought
Silver Lake.
Silver Lake bought DBH, and yesterday they bought Endeavor.
Just yesterday.
Yeah,
crazy.
And Endeavor was a $3.4 billion company. How big is Silver Lake that they wrote the check to buy that company?
Small bills.
So it's tip money.
Yeah.
So now we are on our third owner. It was originally owned by Marv Goldklang. And Marv Goldklang is the single highest Yankee owner whose name is not Steinbrenner. He has the single highest because he's the guy. You'll remember this. They have no shot. Remember when the Yankees were owned by WCBS TV in New York?
Sure.
Yeah.
He is the investment banker lawyer, Marv Goldklang, who put the deal together for Steinbrenner.
And he got it.
And Steinbrenner gave him ownership. Instead of paying him, he gave him 7%.
Now, didn't he also own a minor league team in Minnesota?
Charleston, St. Paul.
Yeah.
At one time, I think he had 8 minor league clubs. He sold us to DBH. Then he sold St. Paul to CBA. Remember, they were a non-affiliate club. They were in the Northern League. They were the guys who were kind of like Banana Ball before Banana Ball. And they became a AAA club once the
switching.
Yes, once all that was done. So he went from having a non-affiliate club to a AAA club. He sold us, he sold them, and he never has to pay for a bad bill again. He is set for the rest of his life, and his children, the grandchildren, and their children.
When you guys switched over to a Yankee affiliate, besides for the players and you bring in all these new staff, what did you see in attendance shift? You saw?
We didn't bring in any new staff. People don't understand the line of delineation. If it's between the lines, it's the Yankees. If it's outside the lines, it's us.
It is you.
As being owned by DBH, Silver Lake, blah, blah, blah. So the Yankees never say anything to us. It's the same thing with the Rays, unless we do or I say something stupid on the PA system. And so far, I've been lucky. We have wood you can knock on for me, Gary, over there somewhere?
Please.
Oh, the hardwood floor? So they are great partners. They never ask, make demands, nothing. The only thing they've asked us, could you put in a regular field? And then when we said we couldn't and why, they said, great, change the surface. And you want to make the Yankees happy, so we did. So the staff was the same. They're great partners to work with. Let's be honest, man, they give us some players. Because from the 2021 team, there's already 14 guys in the big leagues. And that's just from the 2021 team. At one point, they called timeout in the middle of a ball game, and they took our starting pitcher, our shortstop, and the second baseman off the field. And I'm like, uh-oh, they just got traded. So they took 3 guys who won world championships with Texas last year.
It was, can I see if I can get this?
Go.
All right, we got Josh, the speedy guy who went to
Smith.
Josh Smith.
Okay.
Not Jung. Oh boy, I'm gonna missay it. It's with a J. Maybe I'm wrong.
No, I'm enjoying watching you struggle.
Oh yeah, this is fun. He's loving it. I can tell.
It was our starting pitcher, our second baseman, Ezekiel Duran, Josh Smith, and the left-handed pitcher who threw 100 miles an hour.
Yes.
And those guys all won world championships last year.
With Texas.
And we got Joey Gallo.
You know, I would think that, and correct me if I'm wrong here, but I would think that the most intense pressure in the marriage between the two is with your baseball operations staff, because they're the ones who are impacted in terms of which players are going to be here, which players are not. You have to play this guy this amount. We want to see this guy. I would think that they would have the most direct correlation between the parent club, because the rest of the operation is Hudson Valley Renegades, how you want to run your operation. But the baseball part, that's what they're
And we have no say, nor do we want to. But it's interesting to see the amount of staff that they have now. We met the staff yesterday, and between video guys and scouts and pitching coaches, it's amazing. There was about 12 people that are involved in a high A club, and that's all teams have that kind of staffing. Every single thing they do is measured, monitored, and cataloged. It's unbelievable. Like, there's camera systems that will say that a ball gets hit in the gap. There's a camera that will track how fast the guy ran to the gap to go after the ball and whether he took the right angle and the most efficient way to catch the ball. So they use it as a teaching moment. Like, okay, you took it too far to the right. If you had gone straight towards the fence, you would have got there and made the catch instead of it hitting the fence and having an extra base hit. So they measure everything. It's mind-boggling. I'm guessing 12 different camera points all over the field that measure everything.
Do you ever have any other interaction with Somerset or Wilkes-Barre Scranton? Is that just not in your realm at all?
We do, like, okay, well, like, it just happened. We just got some clay because we're building brand new bullpens. And brand new bullpens take way more clay than we had anticipated. And we can't get it quick enough. So Somerset We drove a truck out to Somerset, and they gave us 2 pallets of clay that we will replace. So those kinds of things, when it comes to the operations outside the lines, the teams will always cooperate. They always help. But again, inside, it's all Yankees, and we don't ask questions, and it's them, and we don't get involved.
Well, you could say that the Yankees love their clays.
Oh, yes, we could. It's a shame that you did.
Going off of that, you guys have something pretty special coming up called the Bhutan Night, right? Can you explain that to us and tell us what it meant for you and your team to plan?
I had only heard of the country of Bhutan because it's near Nepal. And the only reason I knew that is because the ride Everest at Disney and in Animal Kingdom, there's a sign where it says Nepal and then it says Bhutan. And when they said we're doing a Bhutan night, I went, oh, yeah,
How often
the Everest ride.
How often are you on this ride?
As often as I'm in Disney, once a year.
It's one of the best ones there.
Oh, it's awesome. So there was a story written by someone, I think at The Athletic, that talked about the smallest country in the world and the fact that the kids in this country watch YouTube videos that see Major League Baseball games like Roberto Clemente old and Pete Rosen and Willie Stargell in those games. Yeah. And that's what they're looking at to see what baseball is about.
They're watching Pete Rose?
Yes.
Oh, okay.
Should watch him now. It's interesting.
If you find the article, there's a picture, which is what caught our GM's attention, of a young man with a batting helmet on and full monk robes and with a Buddha. When I say a Buddha bigger than this building, that is in left field. And this kid has just crushed a fastball, and it's on its way to Buddha's temple. So we read the article. The GM said this has some legs, so that we reached out to the Bhutanese consulate to find out how can we get kids to come to the U.S. who are playing baseball.
Yeah.
So they said, we'd love to do that. We have families adopting kids so we can bring over more kids. There's the process of getting them here. So when they come, they will fly into Newark. They'll come to us. We put them up for 2 nights. They will come to the Renegades to get a tour of the stadium. They'll come to do a baseball and business symposium. And then the next day, they'll get a tour of the Hudson Valley, come to us for a game at night, go back to the hotel. Then they go to the city. They get a tour of Major League Baseball offices. They go to the MLB store to get some presents. Then they go to the Yankee game that night, and they'll go on the field. Before the Yankee game, they'll meet the Yankee players. And then they'll go back to their hotel. No, they're going to stay at the consulate that night, and then they fly out the next day. So we're trying to bring as many not little kids, teenage kids who are playing baseball. And I'm told that some of them are actually pretty good.
Yeah.
So this is great.
Yeah, I found out about this this thing on the MLB official Instagram.
Yes.
And I was actually a little surprised. They did not mention the Renegades by name. They said a Yankees affiliate will be doing this.
But if you looked at the
night.
MILB,
yes, MILB, yes.
But the truth is, it's we do a lot of crazy stuff to get attention. This is a serious thing that we're going to get even more.
I think it's very special. It's especially now with the MLB trying to expand the game of baseball elsewhere. Like the Dodgers and Padres started their season in Seoul, South Korea. I think that's great.
Next year it'll be Japan.
Yeah, and next year it'll be Japan. Mets and Phillies are playing a series in London. The Yankees went to Mexico to play against the Diablos Rojas.
And Trevor Bauer.
Yep, Trevor Bauer pitched for him. I think what you guys are doing are really, really special to spread the game of baseball.
But I can't wait to meet those, because we're also going to do a clinic. I run all of our baseball camps too, and we're going to do a clinic with the kids, and we're going to teach them as much as we can. But based on the picture, there's one kid out there who can absolutely rake. I hope that kid gets to come.
Yeah.
Oh, good spotlight for some
right-handed power hitter.
Well, international signings rule the game of baseball right now, so.
I don't know what his 60 time would be in that robe.
Yeah,
can you imagine?
Just a
something more aerodynamic.
Yeah, but think how viral that's going to go. Just picture, because minor league
viral, by the way, if you know him.
Minor league baseball
I know him for a while.
Is just the melting pot of any crazy idea that you want to do. You can do it. So the question I have is, we have Amanda Lubin is our crack research department. Gives me tremendous stuff.
5+ pages of research.
Correct me if I'm wrong here. So average attendance last year, a little over 2,700?
Yep.
Okay. Capacity, 4,500?
It was 4,500. It's going up to 5,500 now.
5,500. Okay. So the question I have is, when you're in the off season or whatever, do you have, and I'm sure you do, surveys of where you're getting your people from, where the fans are coming from, who you're trying to reach? Give us a little input on that, because you are a thriving business, but yet the bottom line is that you need to get people into the ballpark.
Well, let me ask one of these two guys this question. If you had to guess, because I asked my sports management class at the Mount this, if you had to guess, who am I promoting to? What is my average customer? You each can guess.
Okay,
go ahead.
first.
In my opinion, I think it's the college age student, because tickets are cheap, and college students love to go and have a good time and have a reason to go out, maybe have a couple beers with their friends, go watch some baseball.
What's your guess?
I was going to Hudson Valley family.
That's exactly it. We market to women. Women make the decision. If I say, when I was married, if I said to my wife, let's go to a Renegades game tonight, it'll be a no almost every time. But if she hears it on K104 that we have fireworks and it's a giveaway and it's this, that, and the other thing, when I come home and she says, let's go to the Renegades game, I'm in.
I never saw
So
that.
we market to women, because I don't care who you are, the woman makes the decision, unless you're really unhappy.
Happy wife, happy life.
Exactly.
Yeah.
So all the stations we're on, we tend to be on the stations that hit more women than men. Now, if we're doing, and we do college stuff, but think about college. You guys are here for our April games, and you come back for our last week of our season.
And it used to be
that makes
they
sense,
weren't
yeah.
here at all.
They weren't here at all.
They weren't here at all because you were a
Unless
summer.
we make the
sense.
playoffs.
Right, but you were basically a summer
Yes.
activity.
But the Marist College hockey team has taken a liking to us. And, I give them free tickets, and they come, and they're rowdy. I've had to calm them down. They can't swear, but they have a great time. The crowd loves them. We put them in games on the field. Yeah. It is hilarious. Then we're marketing to you guys because it's, it's free tickets with your ID. It's dollar hot dogs. It's beer specials.
Yeah,
That's on Thursday nights.
I've gotten some great deals as a Marist student going to.
But we don't
Renegades
market
games.
to you guys because we know you guys will come.
Well, that's fair enough.
I
yeah,
think something
fair
that a good idea is for the lower underclassmen, some sort of, whether that be a bus or a thing, some sort of transportation.
We have tried that. We've had that discussion with both colleges multiple times.
Meaning
and nobody.
both?
Yes, Marist and the Mount.
And the Mount,
and
okay.
both of them have said the same thing. It's the liability and the expense of the bus.
Really?
On our end or your end?
Yes.
Both.
Yeah, it would be obviously something we would share, but it's a legitimate concern.
They said there's a liability for the bus. Because,
Well, it's always the insurance is always the what if.
well,
so it's
that's strange for me to hear because senior week every year, Marist will have like a promotion where seniors can buy tickets to. Typically, it's a Yankees game, but this year it's going to be a Mets game because the Yankees are away. Where a bunch of us get on a charter bus or whatever, go down to the city, watch the game, and then
that's
come
all
back.
part of your ticket package or your activities fee.
It's part of a ticket package. So like we pay $25, includes bus.
Through the SPC program?
Yeah, SPC program, right? So it includes bus, tickets, and I think like
food voucher.
Like a food voucher.
I
yeah.
guarantee you, the college is paying more than that $25.
Oh, 100%.
Oh, definitely.
100%.
Yeah,
But
definitely.
I'm saying if we get it through the SPC, maybe that's something
I think we should make it happen.
Get to work.
You know it.
Yeah.
You could have it.
Drop my name. I'll help you do it.
I have some friends in the SPC. Maybe we can work something
I'll
out.
help you get it done.
You know
right.
it.
There's a lot of promotions that are just making my head spin. So opening night is the 16th, but on the 17th, you have, the hell is this? Swedish Furniture Night. So, like, IKEA is not a sponsor? I mean, is that what's going on here?
No, it's IP issues. When you're the NBA, where you used to be, you guys have the budget to pay that rights fee so you could call it a Kia night. Minor League Baseball doesn't have that. Like, it's even come to the point where we can't even promote a movie, even though it's going to do the movie good, like Star Wars night. The only reason we could promote Star Wars night is because Major League Baseball and Minor League Baseball pay Lucasfilms a ton of money for the rights. But that's every club because every club does it. If you want to do individual things like this, the only way to do that is if you pay the IP. And we're not going to do that. So we just say Swedish Furniture
I
Night.
honestly I like Swedish Furniture Night.
So here's what's going to happen.
I needed the explanation. I got the explanation.
What does that entail, though? Are you getting
it's
legs
great.
of tables
No,
out
you'll see.
like in a T-shirt?
There will be 3 different families that we will pick. They will set up in 3 different areas of the ballpark. They will each be given the exact same 3 different IKEA products that they must
IKEA product.
I can say it now.
Yeah.
there you go.
That they will put together the best, the quickest, and then arrange their little room. Whoever does gets to keep the IKEA furniture.
That's
and they get to
hilarious.
come back to another game and throw out a first pitch and do all that fun stuff.
If that
That's
doesn't
awesome.
scream minor league baseball, I really
No,
don't
it's
know.
tremendous.
What
All
does.
right. You have not 1, but 2 Italian Heritage Nights.
Oh man, I'm gonna have to go to that. I'm gonna have to.
Explain.
Well, I mean, the area, 1.
You needed 2.
Dominant, yes.
You couldn't do it in 1. You needed 2.
Well, we give everybody else 1, but the one that is the most popular by far, it's not even close, is Italian Heritage Night.
Well, I know
by
with-
far.
With Somerset, they are having a Steve Sharippa night. They had last year. They had was that you guys? Snooki? You had Snooki?
Well,
Snooki night.
Snooki used to work for us. Her first job was there, and she was a cheerleader with my daughters at a local cheer gym. So I knew her as Nicole. And she came to me one day after work and said, Zolz, I'm leaving a little early. I mean, before work, I'm leaving a little early today because I'm going to New Jersey to film a pilot for MTV. And I said, well, what's it going to be about? She goes, a bunch of Italians living in a beach house. I went, you're not Italian. She goes, yeah, but they don't know that.
She's not Italian.
She's Colombian.
Are you
See,
serious?
You learned
Dead
something
serious.
new
I-
on the student section.
Yeah.
Did
Yep.
not
So- I
know
never
that.
knew that.
So she came back, and I worked with her in her store in Beacon at the time to try to get her involved. She loved it. We did a bobblehead. She got to design our jerseys for the night. And, of course, what happens? We literally get 2.5 inches of rain. Couldn't play the game, but there was still 2,000 people came to meet her. So we had her meet and greet. We did all the things that are attached to it.
The lookalike contest.
Oh, my God, what a zoo that was. But, yeah, and then we end up on the show doing the thing, and people are saying, Zolz, you realize you're on the Jersey Shore? I'm like, yeah, I heard.
Now, this was something that minor league baseball started a couple years ago. You guys have alternative jersey or alternative identities. One is the cider donuts.
Yep.
The other one I can't pronounce. So,
Our Latin heritage.
yeah. So let me give it a try. Fenómenos Mascarados.
Yes, that's what we are. It's our Copa Nights.
Thank you.
You did a very nice
It
job.
gets the
there.
Will seal of approval.
Will is dying to get me off football and basketball.
Not at all. This is propaganda.
But did the fans get involved here? Was there a community thing to get the names of
Since
the
we've done
identities?
Copa,
Yeah.
the attendance of Latin folks have gone up considerably. Not only on those nights, but in other nights. And it's an initiative that's done all over minor league baseball. Most minor league teams will have at least 2 Copa nights. We have 4. Where every couple of years there's a new jersey, then you autograph the old jerseys and they go out auction. This year they might go to Bhutanese, they may go to whatever. So that money goes back into the community. Then we do a veteran night every year, where once a year we change our name to the Hudson Valley Veterans, and it's Veterans Appreciation Night, and we will literally put 2,500 just veterans of various branches of the service in the ball game.
Do you have different jerseys for that night also?
Yes, it's veterans jerseys. What was the other one you? Oh, cider donuts.
Yeah.
We did that last year. When we were trying to come up with the identities, we sit around a table. I'm like, listen, if there's one thing that's huge in this area in the fall, it's cider donuts. You can't go to any local farms. Adams has they actually make the cider donuts as you're standing there. So let's go with the cider donuts. So you then go to a specific branding company. They're called Brandiose. And they come up with your logo, and they come up with the colors and all that stuff. And it was a huge success last year, so we're going to do it again this year.
Yeah, I love the cider donuts. Like I've been to one cider donuts game, and it's really awesome.
Yeah,
it's really
and
awesome.
all minor league baseball does it.
So when you're sitting with your bosses and you've now increased capacity.
I have one.
But when you've increased capacity, what are they looking for as the bottom line that they would like to hit this year in terms of average attendance?
You know, they obviously want more numbers. When
Obviously.
you're in corporate world, it's more. No matter what have you done for me lately, that's how it works. So they want more people in the ballpark. I believe firmly that we've had a COVID hangover in the Hudson Valley. That when you go to anything, the attendances aren't what they were pre-COVID. Even still, which is amazing to me. And we're in a wide open space. Like there's no pillars. There's nothing's covered. You are in the wide open spaces. But there's a COVID hangover. Our whole thing when we first got here in '94 was reasonable price family entertainment. We try to be the same thing. But now there's a slight difference because of all their corporate needs. our new club space that we're building that's going to be above the new clubhouses. It's all you can eat with a chef, and like the elevated places at Giant Stadium or at City or Yankee Stadium. We now have one. So there's ways to make extra money without putting a ton of extra bodies in a building. Right. But I would assume that my guess is I think we'll increase our attendance this year by at least 500 a game.
And now with the new construction, because you're going to be open to events 12 months out of the year, the ballpark then becomes more amenable for other sources of income.
Right. We understand that baseball teams start showing up around Valentine's Day to play on our field. And we don't stop playing baseball till Thanksgiving. Or Mother Nature gets involved with snow. We can deal with rain, but you can't deal with snow because you don't want to take that brand new product and snowplow it. So if it's snow, we wait until it melts. That's all there's to it. But there's also Arlington and Beacon has their graduations there. There's concerts. There's Little League, Senior League, Babe Ruth, college, high school, baseball games all the time. This year, we lost all of that income because they're putting a new surface in. But otherwise, we would have been booked literally from about Valentine's Day to opening day with the Renegades when they get here. And then when they go on the road, we do camps. We do 3 baseball camps that I run. And we keep the field busy, and we find extra way to make non-traditional revenue, NTR, and close the gap.
This is my first year. Have you ever had Marist baseball play?
Yes.
Okay.
In fact, our key event used to be...
Didn't Marist and Army play there?
For years, it was the Hudson Valley Baseball Classic with Army and Marist playing. It was always the last Wednesday in April, and the guys came down and they played. So now that we play games in April, we're trying to resurrect it. And the last time we talked, there's a chance that we could start it again next year, where it would be a real Hudson Valley thing, where there'd be 2 Division IIIs would play in the first game of the doubleheader, where it'd be like the Mount and Vassar. And then in the second game, it would be Army and Marist, and then fireworks after the game.
That's a great idea.
Yeah, that's great.
They used to make them do clinics. And I could tell you that the Army kids and the Marist kids, they were literally at the stadium from about noon until 11 o'clock at night. And it was ridiculous. Don't do the clinics. Add the second game with the Division III kids, and then people can come and see the difference between a Division III baseball player and a Division I, because the average person doesn't get that there is a legitimate difference between the two.
I think that's a fantastic idea.
Yeah, and the interesting thing is the Army baseball coach is the former Marist baseball coach, Chris
And
Chase.
I actually think Mount St. Mary's is D1 in baseball.
No, God,
They're
no.
not.
They're Division III. So is Vassar.
Will, you're having an un-Jeopardy-like day today.
I am.
COVID hangover? Or I'm
Yes.
So the idea would be to bring 4 different local colleges and do it one night.
Now, another night that you're having, and I don't want to overstep my research here, but you're having a Wade Davis night.
Yes.
And from what I remembered from Wade Davis, is he from Marlboro?
No.
But his family his wife is from Marlboro, his family?
He was the #1 pick in the country the year he got drafted. He got to us, I believe, in 2006. So in 2006...
So he played for the Renegades?
Yes.
Okay.
He played for us that year, and he was throwing 99 when 99 was outrageously hard. In those days, that was unthinkable. So he dominated the New York Penn League. So he met a girl who was selling hot dogs, local, Caitlin, who he then asked to marry him.
And he worked at the Renegades?
Yes. He came into my office and goes, Zolz, I'm going to ask Caitlin to marry me. Will you DJ it? I'm like, shouldn't you be asking her dad first? So, I always stayed friends with him no matter what club he's ended up in. So when he married her and I got to DJ that wedding, he moved here and built a beautiful home in Marlboro. And
so he was right there. Yeah.
He was one of the most dominant players we ever had. Yeah. We haven't retired a number since Kevin Brown, who was the first Renegade to make it to the big leagues. It's not Kevin Brown, the pitcher, because that's what everybody thinks. It's Kevin Brown, the catcher. Who
had an unceremonious exit from the Yankees on his final stop in the major leagues.
That was the pitcher, Kevin Brown.
That was the pitcher, Kevin Brown.
So
he was nasty at one time, but not
he was filthy
Yankees.
once.
Yeah.
And then he lost it in a hurry. Yeah. So we're going to retire his number. He's also, because all of our giveaways this year and all the special things we're doing are based on our 30th anniversary. So he's also on our Mount Rushmore bobblehead, where it's 4 little heads in a Mount Rushmore setting of our 4 greatest players ever.
You're really you're going to bring people to the seats this year.
For sure.
So who is that round? Who is that?
It's Wade Davis.
Okay.
It is Evan Longoria.
Nice.
It is Stephen Vogt, who's now the manager of the Guardians, and Jorge Cantu, who had a 10-year big league career, and he's still playing in the Mexican leagues. We would have put Josh Hamilton on that, but he's had some issues personally, and we felt that it would be too much negative if we put Josh on it, even though he would be on it.
Great. Interesting.
You guys are having another night where you're paying homage to the old Negro League team, the Newburgh Gorhams, right?
Yeah.
Right. So what does that mean to the Renegades to kind of pay homage to their history?
Well, that's a great move by you guys.
Yeah, I think
it's another one of those one-offs where we will wear Gorham's uniforms. The visitors will wear another team. I don't know off the top of my head what that team is, and we will have. We're trying to find if there's anybody alive who played on that team who's around, and the records are really bad for a lot of the Negro teams. It's a shame, but we're trying to find someone we could bring back and tip cap, because before Buck O'Neill died, we had him at the stadium and he was tremendous. But the idea is to highlight local, because we could have gone with what they, believe it or not, they used to call them the Black Yankees.
Yep.
And they played at Yankee Stadium, but we found out that there was a local club, so we said let's go with the local club. And all of our details are still sketchy because we're trying to find someone who is attached.
Right, right. Well, I mean, regardless, I think the sentiment is there. You know, for the longest time, the Negro League teams and players were, I feel like, largely forgotten by the masses, by most baseball fans. And now, in the past couple of years, I've seen more and more about their history, about their players, and more teams, you know, like the Renegades, and even in the majors too. Like, I've seen players talk about, you know, old Negro League records and stuff. I think that's really, really great.
There's a guy who's tried to compile as many records as possible, and they're claiming that they're this close to having Major League Baseball recognize those records and put them in the MLB record books.
Well, I went to the Cooperstown Hall of Fame, funnily enough, for my 21st birthday last summer.
Nice.
I know it's a little unorthodox, but it was good for me. So I went there, and there was a very large exhibit about the Negro Leagues and their teams. And I was talking to a couple of the workers there, and they said that Cooperstown is talking about, like you said, putting some of the old records and recognizing them with, you know, the rest of the MLB.
Well, remember, Cooperstown is a private business. It has nothing to do with Major League Baseball.
Right.
Major League Baseball is the one who's talking about folding all of those actual pitchers and hitters statistics into their record books.
Isn't the Negro Hall of Fame in Kansas City? I believe.
Yes.
Yes.
Yes, it is.
Yeah. We're going to have to wrap up this infomercial soon. But before we do, fireworks a huge part of the summer. Okay. July 4th, you have the 4th and the 5th. The crack research.
The whole weekend. The whole weekend.
The whole shebang.
If I read this right, 15 fireworks shows. So just give us the thought process into what went into having so many of those, and they're basically mostly on Fridays with select Saturdays.
Correct. And
how'd I do?
You did great, but we cut it down. There used to be Fridays and Saturdays. And there was a year where we applied for the permits for the entire season when we were 38 home games. We were this close to do it because the no-show rate, I mean, you know, even when you were at the Nets, the seat is sold. There's not necessarily a person in it because there's no shows.
I would know that. Yeah, there was a lot of seats that were sold that there was nobody in them. Yes.
So, and every club, no matter what the sport is, they have no-shows. But on firework nights, it's the least amount of no-shows for any night that we do.
And it's a consistent winner for you?
Yes,
obviously.
Consistent. But by treating it differently this year, we're on Saturday nights, we're doing all of our 30th anniversary giveaways. On Friday nights, we have fireworks with select special date Saturday nights. We went from, I think we had 26 or 27 last year. We're cutting it down to make them more special and have other nights where you're going to get something cool on Saturdays. And Saturday games are now at 4 o'clock.
So as we wrap up, where should people go to if they want to find out more information? And when is your media blitz starting? Next week? Or
Media Day was yesterday.
Media Day was yesterday.
Commercials just started yesterday. The media met the players. All the articles are being written and being posted. You go to our website. It's the easiest thing to do. hvrenegades.com.
I'm on it right now.
See?
I'll be on it later tonight.
And are you happy with your promotional calendar? I mean, that's kind of not a leading question, but do you feel that you hit all the spots
Never.
that you talked?
No, never. Because there's IP issues, because you can't get the rights to things. And then it's no matter what, you always want to be better. That's why we've been successful for so long, because we don't stand on our laurels. We try to do better every single year, and it's an ego thing. I want to be better than we were last year. So could we have had better nights? Most likely. But this is the one we're going to war with, and then next year we'll try to be better again.
And for Yankee fans, the player that will be with the Renegades that would have the most name recognition would be Spencer Jones at this point?
He's not
he's
coming
with
back, though.
AA
He's not
Somerset.
coming back.
He's not coming
What are you
back.
going to do with the Spencer
In fact,
Jones
I think
bobblehead?
he's going to start at AA,
Yep.
and he'll be in AAA, I would say,
Within
by
the
the
month.
midway point at the latest. And then he may get called up in September.
The left-handed Aaron Judge.
Listen, I am telling you that is not hype. He's 6'7". He runs like a deer, has a plus arm, is a good defender, hits for power, but he hasn't figured out how to adjust to the adjustment. The further up you get in Major League Baseball, so from minor leagues up, the pitchers adjust to your success. Now, how do you adjust to them adjusting to you? That's the biggest secret. That's why there's a lot of guys who can play who never get to the big leagues because they don't keep adjusting. You are constantly adjusting when you get on that level.
Watch Anthony Volpe this year. That's a classic case of that right there because he's doing it while he's in the major leagues. Very difficult to do. So early results are good. It's a long season.
Well, I'm
We'll see
telling
how
you,
he does.
he absolutely, because I still had my talk show on a local radio station. He came on. I saw him play one weekend series. I said, "That's the next Derek Jeter," and people mocked me. That summer we had Peraza, then we had Smith, and then we had Volpe.
Did you have Pereira, Everson?
Yes. Yep. So we see all the talent. It's off the charts, but Anthony Volpe is the best young infielder. He's better than Longoria was at the same process.
High praise.
Oh my God, the kid can, and he's a good kid. He's never going to get in trouble. He's never going to say anything stupid. He's good looking. He's well spoken. He has a ridiculous future.
He's very classy, and he loves his chicken parm.
Yes, he does.
He loves
that's
his
right.
chicken
The whole
parm.
thing with Wells. Okay.
Thank you very much for coming in.
This was
Yes.
awesome.
Yes.
Yeah.
Thank you so much,
you.
Souls.
Of course, you're going to air this, and everybody who I just canceled class at the Mount is going to see it, and I'm going to get in trouble.
No, because by the time this drops, you'll be going on to your next class, so they won't even know that you were here.
Nice.
Because we don't drop this on the day that we tape, so you're in great shape. But thank you very much.
Anytime.
Thank you, Zolzer.
Fantastic source of information, and good luck with the season. And I think it's, when you turned over that, because I drive by that stadium occasionally going different places, and when you see the Yankee logo, it just gives got a different brand, with all the hard work you guys put in over all the years. Now you have a brand where even the casual person who may not even be a baseball fan,
They know that brand.
They know that. They know that. And as you said, the wife or the girlfriend may go, that's
Pretty
good.
Pretty good. Might go to a game. So
That's an inside thing. Thanks for letting me in.
yeah,
No.
thank you very much. We appreciate
My
it.
pleasure.
We didn't give a round of applause to studio. Our thanks to Rick Zolzer, the hardest working man in Dutchess County, for taking some time from his valuable day to join us in our humble studio here at the college to talk about the Renegades. Opening day, April 16th. They play baseball all through the spring and the summer. So there's plenty of time to see baseball. And we'll be back with more on the student section right after these messages.
The Hudson Valley Renegades are a proud sponsor of the Student Section podcast. Rick Zolzer, Vice President of Entertainment. When can you watch the Renegades?
Starting April 16th all the way through to the first week of September, and hopefully we make playoffs after that.
You heard it here. A proud sponsor of the Student Section.
And welcome back to the student section. We welcome back Aidan. He has rejoined Will, got his seat back, had his PSL renewed during the break, so he has his season tickets ready to go for the student section. We're going to continue on the baseball theme. We talked all about the Hudson Valley Renegades, the Yankee affiliate. They begin April 16th, but the boys are back in the Bronx. Great start to the season, scorching. And let's give props to our man Aidan, who was pumping Juan Soto more than Arnold Schwarzenegger in a bodybuilding contest, and you are now, it's all you.
That's right.
I think we have a little counter that we can put right here.
How many times I'm going to say it this episode? He's frozen.
Wow, that was a lot of times, Aidan.
Juan Soto, yeah. I said he was going to be good, and it's only 7 games in, so let's not get too excited. I did see that Michael King had 7 walks in his first start.
And Higashioka hit a home run. Yeah.
That Higashioka did do that.
The Rangers and Devils took the gloves off, and some of the guys got beaten into the ground. Don't beat Will the Thrill into the ground. He took the L.
You know what would happen if that occurred, right? Hit it.
That's Sussman. Sussman.
Baseball's been fun so far, though. And I got my all-you-can-eat ticket voucher, so I'm good to go. Did you see that?
I did not.
It's in the Marlins Stadium. You can get an all-you-can-eat ticket voucher.
It's a fugazi. It's fugazi.
You think so?
It's not all you can eat. It's
I've been to the Marlins Stadium. They have a nightclub out and dancers.
That's
I've been there out in
0-7. They're off to a hot start.
Yes. Let's go back to the Yankees for a second. I want to try this out on you guys.
Sure.
I thought that the Astros series was like a heavyweight fight. I think the intensity was very playoff-like for the first series of the year. The crowd was nuts, and I think that your man Juan
Soto
responded to that in such a positive way.
Can I say something real quick? Juan Soto is so good at baseball. I don't know if I mentioned that in the previous episode, but just to make sure that I'm mentioning it now, he's very good. And every single at-bat that he has, you cannot
TV.
Get up from your seat. You have to stay in your seat. Your eyes glued to the television.
You know what they should do? Remember when Judge was up to bat every time? It was 62. Michael would be, I'm Michael Kay, and you're watching the Yes Network.
Right,
and,
yeah.
Our director, John J. Filippelli, the #1 regional sports, they should do that every time he's up to bat so they can broadcast that out.
Yeah.
He is much must-watch television, Gary.
More to that point, the makeup of the team is so far different from a personality standpoint than it was the last year and the previous years. It's just you have to remind yourself it's the Yankees who are out there, not the corporate Yankees, but actually a Yankee team that's got some juice to it that you enjoy watching.
Sometimes I wonder where DJ fits in there. I don't know if he's comfortable in that locker room because he's so robotic. I'm sure he's fine in all reality, but he is like the stereotypical Yankee, and now you've got Stroman, who's not even wearing his uniform. He's just wearing retro shirts in the dugout.
All about?
It's awesome. I think it's great. He was, during the offseason, so passionate about being a Yankee. Like, everything he was posting was about the Yankees. He was wearing his Yankee hat everywhere he went. These guys want to be Yankees, and now they are Yankees, and they're making the most of their experience. Most of them actually on one-year deals, which will be interesting to see.
As is Soto.
Further down.
As is Soto. And, of course, we have to measure things because it's only one weekend. We just got into April. But it does give fans a reason to be excited about what's coming up this season.
And the 161st Street Station is getting repainted.
Very nice.
New light fixtures are being put in.
That's very nice. So the Yankees are at home. The Mets have been struggling, but I need to address a little basketball on the New York scene. First of all, if they can get the camera, props to my man, VC.
Congratulations,
Vince Carter, getting
See you on the show soon.
Chosen to be in the 2024 class at the Hall of Fame, and I'm very fortunate that I had worked with both Jason and Vince, Hall of Fame backcourt. So
and Joe Johnson.
Joe
and Brooke Lopez.
Joe Jesus, Brooke Lopez, never worked with Piazza, and I don't know who this guy is. But that's great honor.
You.
Vince is a better person than he is a player. He's just a great guy. And the reason I say that is because he treated all the people who he worked with as people who are trying to earn a living.
So the Nets, as you were saying, some current New York basketball, the Nets out of playoff contention. I don't know where they're going to go from here. They're in a funky situation. I think they need to move on from their interim coach and get a true coach.
I actually wanted to turn the page and give the pulpit to you because I thought the Knicks had a real legit shot to go to the Eastern Conference Finals. The Julius Randle injury is just going to. He's an All-Pro. You take an All-Pro out of the lineup now. If you get OGB back,
they're going to have Anunoby back.
If you get him back, you got a shot to make some noise.
Yep.
But the problem is that guys have a certain amount of juice in their bodies, and when you have to play all the bench guys so many minutes as starters, there's only so many minutes they have in their bodies.
I disagree. I honestly think.
Well, you can disagree with that. I know I'm right on that.
No, I agree with that. But when you take out Julius from the equation, we still have been playing fantastic. Now, as soon as the Woj tweet that Randall got is out for the season, now everyone's like, oh my God, the Knicks are a fantastic team. Okay, you get back Anunoby
completely healthy. They're not fantastic when they're not completely healthy.
I got to disagree with you. Right now, Miles McBride.
Yep.
I mean,
let's see what happens in
the
regular season.
Bogdanovich
and the playoffs.
is looking a little bit better. Mitch has to. It's not the health. It's just the spacing is a little messed up.
Remember,
right now.
in the playoffs, you're playing more against the first string guys than you are during the regular season, and so your bench guys
the
who
Knicks
are playing
don't have
well
any bench
now,
guys, though.
Right? But
They're all considered starters.
But they're not. They're not starters. In reality, they would be better if their minutes were cut 15 to 20 minutes as opposed to having to play 25 to 35 minutes. It eventually catches up to you. You're talking about one round of the playoffs.
Oh, Burks only plays
10
10 to 14 minutes a game.
Who's that?
Alec Burks only plays 10 to 14. Bogdanovich only plays like 12 to 17,
all right.
12 to 30.
Yes. All I'm saying is that I think it's a law of diminishing returns when you have to play guys so long in the regular season when they're not used to playing all those minutes, because the pace and the intensity of the playoffs is different than the regular season. And if the Knicks were whole,
the Knicks are a championship team whole.
If the Knicks were whole, I think they could have made the Eastern Conference Finals. I don't think anybody is beating Boston. But they're not whole, which is unfortunate. They can still do some damage, but they have to get OGB back.
And
Western Conference is fascinating.
Both conferences, it's a neck and neck race. Miami, it's always a scary
Embiid
time.
Embiid just came back. That's big.
Yeah, I don't know what
how
they're
much it's
going to be
help
doing,
them, but it could do something. You don't want to face Embiid, I don't think, in the playoffs. I know they don't have the greatest supporting cast, but the West, with their playing, there's a top 75 player on
the West is
all but
crazy.
one team.
The West is must-watch. Every game is must-watch TV. But as far as the Sixers go, Embiid came back. By the time the playoffs come, he'll have a couple weeks under his belt. They have a good team. They have a good team, and he's unstoppable if he's healthy.
I honestly am not. I don't like this. I don't think you can put a label on any team that makes the play-in or the 1 through 8 seeds until you watch the first 2 games of their first series. You don't know how the Knicks are going to play. You don't know how the Warriors are going to play. You don't know how the Lakers are going to play. It doesn't matter, okay? Once you hit that regular season conclusion, it's almost a new season. And I don't like the mantra of, they're already bound to lose. You saw the Kings. They weren't bound to lose. You saw the Warriors in 22. They were out. They never got out. So I think up until the first series concludes, then you get a real grasp. And we were going back to the Nets. They're in a weird place. Kevin Ollie, I think he should be gone. I think they should bring in Kenny Atkinson is not going to take that job. If they would pay him to bring him back, he would not accept. I think the Nets have to completely rebuild not even rebuild their team, just rebuild what's going on. I don't know what Sean Marks has been doing in the last 6 years. He's been messing up, and I know you're a big Nets guy.
Well,
but what do you think their next step is?
That Sean Marks, he got Durant, Harden, and Kyrie on the same team. You would think that a championship comes out of that. So I wouldn't put all the blame on him.
The problem is they don't have any draft capital.
They don't have James Harden. They don't have Kevin Durant. And they don't have Kyrie Irving. They don't have D'Angelo Russell.
Well, having been through this many times with the Nets, the thing that you're looking forward to now is April 16th because season's over. So everybody goes home.
Can we get a Patrick Gardner call-up before the end of the season? That is a must.
So we'll be watching the playoffs with tremendous interest.
100%.
Yeah, it'll be good.
Men, enjoy the week or so until we meet again. We've had a lot of basketball, a lot of baseball. Zolzer in the studio, and another smashing student section in the books.
And you can follow us at the Student Section Podcast and at the Student Section wherever you get your podcasts, except for Google Podcasts. They are no longer around as of today.
Will always throwing out facts that I have no idea what he's talking about. Gentlemen, good to see you again. Thanks to Anthony DePonio, the Pony Man, for sitting in with Zolzer, a full crew tonight. And we will see you next time on another episode of
The Student Section.
There we go. See you, everyone.
Take care.